Hello again to all of you wonderful people of the information superhighway, to the 113th edition of my weekly series of Weird Mind Newsroom, where for this week we have a case of some focus of the new releases, a selection of trailers, and a small selection of some news stories. But let's not waste too much time on these introductions and regards, and let's get into the main course, the media focuses of all things media for this week.
Okay!
Now listen up for the new releases, as this first one is about a group of little blue people that live in a not so very blue world. But in all the case, they are very blue and will use their species name in a lot of ways that I have to wonder, if you were to make a drinking game, how many times this word is said in the movie and how plastered would you get by the end of it. But we're back again to a world of a small magical village of creatures, as have been what is seen as the fourth film take adaptation of the popular classic comic characters of the Smurfs. The film will see the Smurfs of Smurf Village deal with the effects of their wise leader of Papa Smurf be taken by mysterious forces that was caused by the evil wizards of Rozamel and Gargamel. That will now see Smurfette, probably didn't know was being played by Rihanna, lead a team on a mission into the real world to save him, and with the help of some new friends, we'll see the Smurfs learn and discover what defines their destiny to save the universe. Reception on this film has not been well received at all, as while elements of the animation is well liked, the film is bogged down in a generic and unappealing story, even with a large ensemble cast trying their best with what they've been given. But I'm sure it may be something that will appeal a lot to the kids in that regards, but if you want to check it out for yourself, it is available now to check out in cinemas. Our second film in focus this week, and the last of the films, is with the concept that we've all had things in our past that we may have had happen to us that you would wish would not have come back to haunt you, or would be something you hope would never have happened to you in particular instance. Well, in the case with this group, the outcome of their actions may be initially forgotten and tried to be forgotten, but it soon comes back to really haunt them in the process, as taking the page of many horrors and slashers of recent memory, we have the release of the all-new reboot sequel to the slasher film of I Know What You Did Last Summer. The film will follow a similar story to the original of 5 friends inadvertently causing a deadly car accident and decide to cover up their involvement and make a pact to keep it a secret between them instead of facing consequences. But a year later, their past comes back to haunt them as they learn someone does know what they did and now stalked by a mysterious killer, and soon they seek out help from those that survived the original Southport Massacre of 1997 to help them escape from this torment. Reception on this entry, similar to the other entries in this series, has not been well received either as well, with some seeing it as a retread of the original film, with other legacy horrors doing a bit better. But in a case instance, there's a little bit too unknown in this regards, but I'm sure it may appeal more to the original fans of the series. But if you want to check it out for yourself as well, you can catch this new film out now in cinemas. Now onto the case of the video games for this week, and in this case he's back again, and it's about damn time too. And in his case for this time, he's back in a full groove in the full-fledged 3 dimensions and ready to smash, punch, and slam their way deep underground, all for the sweet appealing search for those precious bananas. As everyone's favorite tie-wearing ape is back with a trusty little companion and an all-new 3D adventure, as we have the release of the all-new title of Donkey Kong Bonanza. The game will have you play as the iconic ape as you travel to Ingot Islands to discover about the recently discovered Bonantium gems amidst a gold rush. Soon he is swept up by a dangerous storm and sent to a place underground that is shown to have the form of a hollow earth-like terrain. He soon ends up in a conflict with a gang of villainous apes known as Void Co, who steal the Bonantium gems and plan to reach the planet's core in order to gain a special wish, as the legends foretell. With the assistance of a young girl named Pauline, you'll go on a big smashing adventure to help stop them from stealing the magic and save the day. Reception on this title has been garnering mass universal acclaim, with praise for its gameplay, its mechanics, its story, its visuals, its humor, and so much more in this title that feels like a proper follow-up or connective title to the Switch 1 success story of Super Mario Odyssey, given that it was also made with the same team that did make that game. I have the game myself, as I've already shown in regards, and I've planned to play a bit of it so far, and already it has me invested, and we'll be done to play more of this monkey business in due time, and the part 1 should probably be out by now at this point. And it feels like another Game of the Year contender in a year of so many bangers, and if you want to play it for yourself, like you should, then you can check this new game out now on the Nintendo Switch 2. Speaking of return of an iconic character in a new form, the next game released for this week is one that initially started off as an arcade classic and has seen many forms over the last few years, but in the basis of this new take on the character, it's ditching the form he is often known for and being based from the take on a recent character from recently unfolded TV series that is showing the cons of those ghosts after you are really not the least concerning problems as we have now the release of the all-new Metroidvania style take on Pac-Man with Shadow Labyrinth. The game will have you play as the Swordsman, a creature awakened by a mysterious floating yellow orb known as Puck on a mysterious planet amidst relics of some strange past wars, and have now been chosen to become this thing's instrument of its will. In order to survive, you will discover many secrets, consume your enemies, and grow from prey to the apex predator as you embrace your true purpose. Reception on this title has been seen as a little mixed to modestly received, with praise to its concept and take on the new form of the iconic character and some gameplay mechanics, though some critiques are feeling a little lacking in focus and something that will take time to get adjusted to. But if you want to try this new take on the Yellow Dot Eater, then you can play this this new title now on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Nintendo Switch 1 and 2, and PC. And the last of the new releases that we have for this week is taking us back to the city full of crime, where so much degenerates and corruption are found around every corner, and where there's one beacon location to do so, it'll be up to one officer to clean up the acts of the dirtbags on these streets, as everyone's favorite cyborg officer is back with an all-new added expansion to the recent title in the new game of Robocop Rogue City, Unfinished Business. Its new expansion title, Robocop must infiltrate Omni Tower, a tall, massive complex that is controlled by a group of elite mercenaries, and must fight your way to the top to take them down, as well as experiences with flashback levels that allow you to play as Alex Murphy before he became the iconic character. Reception of this title has also seen some mixed to modest reception, that the visual, story, and gameplay are well received, though some elements of repetitiveness and the one location and lack of mass amounts of new weaponry to use, but I'm sure it'll be well worth a try. And if you want to play it for yourself as well, you can play this new title now on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. And with all that regards now, that's all the new releases that we do have for this week. Now the first of the trailers brings us the focus and discussion of mixed messaging, a rumor, a truth, or a lie, and the question of wondering if it brings back old pains and trauma, and whose side do you really trust? As Luca Guadagnino has returned again, working away with another new film project on the way, as you have the release of the newest trailer for his new thriller film of After the Hunt. This film will follow a college professor, played by Julia Roberts, finding herself at a personal and professional crossroads, when a star student, played by Ayo Adebiri, levels an accusation against one of her colleagues, played by Andrew Garfield, fretting to expose a dark secret from her own past. Now, I first heard about this project from CinemaCon this year and felt this one may have something that I see as being quite topical in this day and age, that the ideas of accusations, Me Too movements, he said, she said, and the sort of things are ones that do get tossed around a lot in this day and age. It's a case of wondering of who to trust and how will this affect people in certain ways, and from the looks of things, it may be a well done concept here and could be a well-meaning project that could be seen as an award circuit win, but not in the case how Luke Guadagnino's movies last year basically got slumped of challengers and queer basically overlooked to the Academy and stuff like that. I don't know. It'll have to be seen in case if it's well received or not as well. But I'm sure we will see how it all comes about in due time when the truth itself is released into cinemas on the 22nd of October. Then for the first of the TV show trailers is one that has finally been given to us, showing that the end is nigh. The creatures that are from the alternate world right below our feet are rising to our world, and the case of the only way to survive is to fight back in order to save their town and combat those that mean harm. They may see some be sacrificed in the process. So after initially getting a trailer that was a big old nothing burger at Totem, we have finally been given a proper full trailer for the 5th and final season of Stranger Things. The final season will see the final battle of Hawkins, as the rifts between the real world and the Upside Down have begun to open, causing chaos and a military quarantine on the town, where the gang will unite to fight Vecna, who has gone missing since the end of the last season and his plans currently unknown, which complicates the mission and will lead to them battling a darkness that looms that is more powerful than ever before. So it's finally a case that we've gotten a better look at this trailer than the one they showed at Totem, which was basically just a kind of sizzle reel the first 4 seasons, and feels more focused this one, and so far it looks like it'll be quite the array of action-oriented focus. And given the case, I've heard a rumored leak sort of saying the episodes was like 2 hours, with the finale being exactly 3, which is a little bit overbloated, but I think that's been confirmed now not being the case. I think one of the Duffer Brothers confirmed it was fake. It does hopefully want to see some things happen this season to feel a bit of sense, which we were to see an actual character deaths that will hopefully hit hard, and secondly, that there is a bit of a time jump to make it feel more plausible that the characters are close to the actors' ages, as no way you're telling me that these kids are only 15 years old in the show when you look like they're in their early 20s, which they are. Besides that, I'm sure it'll be hopefully stick to landing or proper send-off, but knowing people on the internet these days, it's hard to really judge that kind of thing. But, we'll see how it is in due time, with the final season releasing in 3 parts on Netflix, with part 1 releasing in late November, part 2 around Christmas time, and the finale dropping on New Year's Eve. On to the first of 2 animated film trailers for this week, and this one is a focus of a new original from the studio that always still tries something new and quirky with their own projects and appealing originals. And the studio that has one film that's currently out now that's sadly doing poorly at the box office, which is a damn shame, and people should go check it out. But we're heading to more of an Earth-based story for this new one, as we're about to see humans and nature combine, and things are about to get a little wacky and crazy, as we have received the teaser for the newest Pixar original of Hoppers. The film will see a group of scientists from a university create a revolutionary machine that will invent a way for humans' brains to inhabit mechanical bodies, and will follow Mabel Tanaka, an animal-loving girl who will use her technology to uses technology to put their mind into a robotic mechanical beaver and uses it to communicate with the animals and help to stop a construction company's plot to destroy the local animal habitat. So it's always interesting to see what sort of weird madcap story that Pixar will come up with, and this one seems interesting in focus, and so far from the visuals and things, it does look pretty good and may be a funny watch overall. Now I see the case that this may be also able to do a decently good environmental message to the film, and the case that the animal-based humor and focus seems to be well in mind, given the film is also made from the original showrunner of the Cartoon Network series of We Bare Bears, so I feel it will be something entertaining to watch, and I'll be checking this out, and you can too when it hops its way into cinemas from the 6th of March next year. And as for the second of the animated trailers for this week is one that from the surface from first glance of this footage, you would think it's a harmless little 2D animated project. But this ain't no kids movie, as this one is going a lot more cruder and a lot more ruder, balls and all, as renowned animator Genndy Tartakovsky is finally getting the release of his supposed passion project that he has been shopped around from different distributors and working on since 2009, as he received the trailer for his R-rated cut of Fixed. The film will follow Bull, voiced by Adam Devine, an average all-around good dog who discovers he is going to be neutered in the morning. And as the gravity of his life-altering events sets in, Bull realizes he needs one last adventure with his pack of best friends as he's the last 24 hours with his boss. But what could possibly go wrong? So yeah, if you can't tell from this one, there's a lot of focus on the raunchy sexual tone focus with these characters, and I'm sure was quite the shock to the system in the trailer's release, but I'm sure it'll be something that has a lot more to it than the overall full project itself, and I've heard about this project from a while. That has been the concept since 2009, after being nearly shelved by Warner Bros., which is not a surprise from WB as they keep shelving all their projects, but nothing with Discovery, which is weird. But saved by the streaming giants, and I've heard there's a lot better in the full release and reception scenes to show it as well, but I'm sure it'll be well worth a watch when the film drops into Netflix from the 13th of August. As for the only game-based focus trailer we have for this week, we have an all-new tournament has emerged. The fighters are being gathered and a bloody battle is sure to commence and lead to some possible fatalities. And for one former major action star of the 90s era, this may be quite the change of pace for his style. It is time to test your might once again as we receive the trailer for the all-new sequel to the reboot take on the fighting game with Mortal Kombat 2. The film will follow on from the first reboot film and follow the fan-favorite champions, which now includes them recruiting the legendary action film star of Johnny Cage, which as they were pitted against one another in the ultimate battle to defeat the dark rule of Shao Kahn that threatens the very existence of the Earth Realm and its defenders. So in this case, I can't recall if I watched that recent reboot, but I've heard it's pretty decent, if a little mixed, and it takes itself a little too seriously, but from what I can see on this one, it did maybe looking a little more in the lighter and jokey tone, and all-out bonkers action that it was well needed, and I'm sure that the kills will be bloody and the action all out, and from the looks of things, it does look pretty good so far. A little bit of touch was probably needed for some of the CGI for one or two of the kills shown in the trailer, but I'm sure it'll be well worth checking out for this Tournament of Champions when the film releases in the cinemas from the 24th of October. Our next trailer in focus is one that will bring the sense of technology showing a sense of evolving over the years, and also the rise of artificial intelligence becoming a new norm for society to find itself trying to master and control. But in this case, the intelligence itself has become so advanced that the program itself is becoming a living thing and about to change the world that we may not be prepared for. As after a bit of time, we have finally gotten an all-new trailer for the upcoming follow-up to Tron Ares. The film will be following a highly sophisticated program, Ares, played by Jared Leto, who is sent from the digital world of Tron into the real world on a dangerous mission, which will mark humankind's first encounter with AI beings and may change the world of humans and machines forever. So likes of this franchise, I felt surprised it has not already spawned so much content since the last film in 2010 that it was likely the case now the perfect time to give it a bit of appeal to all with the rise of AI in the modern day and stuff, and so far from the visuals, it does look pretty interesting. The only thing I worry about with this project in particular is with Leto as the main lead, is seeing that the last two times he's been a lead in something, he's went a little too method with his characters, and not to mention the recent allegations of the apparently made against him that I don't know too fully much on, that it could see an effect on that appeal. But I guess we'll have to see how this program runs or crashes when the film itself is uploaded into cinemas from the 10th of October. Now these last two that until just writing this episode I had seen to have overlooked or were not as overly advertised to me, but it nearly feels a case with this first one, like it was close to the whole ordeal with the original film that was a bit of a sleeper hit, but in this case is worth a check out, as the everyman himself is back and on a much needed vacation. Don't have him too far away from work, as he received the second and presumably final trailer for the upcoming sequel to Nobody. The film will see workaholic assassin Hutch Manson taking his family on a much-needed vacation to the small tourist town of Pummelville, where, however, he will soon see himself in the crosshairs of a corrupt theme park operation, a deep undercover smuggler's case, corrupt cops, and a bloodthirsty crime boss, and will need to hone his skills to take them down and enjoy his vacation after all of this issues is resolved. It's a case with the original film that it just came out of nowhere and entertained the masses that it was expected the follow was gonna happen, and hopefully will be in the same approach as the John Wick films is inspired by, and will get better and better with each new installment. And in the case of this film, it does look pretty interesting, and I'm all for checking this one out. And also, case is not too long away as well, as the film will be releasing into cinemas from the 15th of August, so just a little under a month's time. And as for the last of trailers this week, we have been told for nearly 50 years now at this point that the basis of In Space is a well-known focus that no one can hear you scream from something dangerous. But in the case of this new take on the popular franchise, it's more close to home, and I know for sure that many will likely hear you scream for sure this time, as you've received one more trailer for the upcoming new series based on the original 70s sci-fi horror with a new series of Alien Earth. Set about a century into the future and 2 years before the events of the original film, the series will see a large mysterious space vessel crash landing on Earth, where we will see a young woman and a ragtag group of tactical soldiers make a discovery that will now put them face to face with the planet's newest, biggest threat. So as to say, the franchise has shown its case of many forms of hits and misses, and I feel in this last few years, it's seen a bit of come back with the recent film being a success from last year of Romulus, as well as doing some well reception-wise in comics and games, and having one set in the past and close to the modern world, and showing how the planet itself would be affected by the arrival of this dangerous creature, will be something well worth reviewing, and watch up as well. In the case, it's not too long away as well for the release of this either, as a new season will be arriving onto Disney Plus and Hulu in under a month's time, on August 12th. And with all that regards, that's all the trailers that we do have for this week.
Hard to say, you're both pretty magical.
Now, on the first of our news stories this week that we do have for this week is the start of the wave of the usual fare of the year in focus, as we have the 2025 edition of the Emmys, as this week we got the announcement of all the nominations for the big success stories of what has gotten a chance of making it big, and in case of this, I will give a bit of a list of the most nominations, the top 5, or for each section, as I can do so, and in case I also mention a few snubs or well-deserved big focus ones. So let's delve into what was the big focus of the nominees. So looking into the categories, it seems the most nominated this year's event is a show that was the massive talking point at the beginning of this year, as the second season of the Apple TV Plus series of Severance has been leading nominees with a total of 27 nominations across the board, which I felt was expected to be a big presence for this award season, so it'll be well worth seeing how much of this show will sweep the awards show. And as for the second nominated show of the event, is going a little more in the realm of the grimy underworld of crime and the rise of a rogue gallery member making his name in the city, as The Penguin was the second most with 24 nominations, which I felt was a well-deserved, as a really great show to watch and experience, and probably will be worth a watch, and I feel it'll probably be the limited series categories one that it will sweep, I'm feeling, but I guess we'll see by the release of this live show in particular. Then we have a two-way tie for third place in the number of nominations for this award show, with 23 nominations apiece going to the shows of HBO Max's White Lotus Season 3 and for the new Apple TV Plus series of The Studio, which I see both having their unique vibes and tones and appeal to different audiences, and some of these are shows I need to check out, particularly with The Studio. I know the case of one of the big ones that was seen as a great appeal was that it was the first acting nomination for acclaimed director Martin Scorsese, nominated for his appearance in The Studio, and I feel it was well deserved, because I mean the only other acting performance I can think of him in was the Shark Tale as the voice of the manager Sykes, or also known as Puff Daddy, but both well deserved for their nominations. Lastly, rounding out the top 5 nominations was with the course similar to last year's Emmys, with a total of 60 nominations being given to a video game adaptation, and this course with the second season of the adaptation of The Last of Us, which I feel was deserving of some aspects of nominations, with the leads of Pedro Pascal and Belle Ramsey both getting nominations that have been a bit of a mixed opinion online in that regards in their roles, but I feel well deserving in my eyes anyway, even with a little mixed opinion on the writing and all bits, but overall still decent solid season that hopefully will be not too long away for its first season, though I've heard rumors it's apparently 2027, but hopefully it's not too far away. Now this is not the only big surprise success of the nominations, as you know, of course cases a few other big regulars making a presence, including The Bear coming in with 13 nominations, Only Murders with 7, SNL technically having 2 different forms, with the normal show getting 7 nominations and the special 50th anniversary getting with 12, the new season of Black Mirror coming out with 10, and the likes of House of the Dragon and Abbott Elementary both with 6 apiece. Now 2 shows I feel was deserving of many nominations include season 2 of Andor dropping with 14 nominations. That has also seen a bit of a discussion of some of them being snubbed, particularly with the acting nominations, but they have specified they were more than happy with the nominations that the show had gotten. And the other big one was the limited series of Adolescence, with the show getting 13 nominations, with the big success story going to the show having the youngest actor being nominated for the Emmys, with Owen Cooper, who played the main kid that was convicted of murder, basically getting an actor nomination, which I feel is greatly deserved and will be a great success for the future of that young man's career, and honestly, really well deserved in that regards, Vincent. Now, of course, in the case that there's a whole discussion about some of the snubs that have come for this award show, and I've already mentioned one with the lack of actors getting nominations for Andor, but it's not the only acting nominations being in focus to be snubbed, as there was ones for Arnie's son of Patrick Schwarzenegger being left out for the cast nomination for White Lotus, as well as the case of Millie Alcock for performance in the series of Sirens, and the case of one I always bring up is that they never give a nomination for all three of the leads for Only Murders, as both Selena Gomez and Steve Martin got snubbed, but Martin Short did get a nomination for this 4th season. I feel Jane Lynch should have got one as well, honestly. She was like the main focal one of that season. As for shows, there was 2 that people seemed annoyed were overlooked for nominations. That was with both The Handmaid's Tale final season and the 2nd season of Squid Game were both overlooked for awards at this year's event. And it's a shame for a show that went on for so long, released and a final season decently received reception. It got nothing when aspects of the show are starting to become too close to reality in the States in that regards. And then for Squid Game, I'm sure it may be more billing of the last 2 seasons together, as the final season is a 2-parter, but it's hard to say. Besides all that, I think that the nominees for this year's Emmys are a decent selection, and maybe try and do a prediction one for this maybe in the future, but I just really don't know right now. But I'm sure we'll see the most appealing for the winners nominees by the award show taking place, I think, on the 14th of September this year, but we'll see in that regards. But what do you think of all these nominations? Which ones you see winning in the categories, and what shows or limited series do you feel were snubbed, or shows that had some snubs in certain categories? Let me know what you think down below, and we can talk all about them there. As for our second news story for this week is with a focus that was on some ideas of news relating to the world of video games, and in particular mainly the area of video game adaptations, with announcements and some updates to some projects getting announced from this week. So we'll not waste too much time on this, and let's delve into what was unveiled and announced at this week's adaptation news. So first, we're heading back to the world of Nintendo, and in the case with one of the focused discussion about one of the big releases of this week, as we are talking once again about Donkey Kong. Now, it's the case that DK has not been a stranger to the world of media outside of games, as he's appeared in his own weird 3D animated series years ago that's based in the DK country, as well as being a supporting role in 2023's Super Mario movie, and likely its upcoming sequel that I think is out next April. Hopefully be hearing some word about this soon enough in addition to maybe in the direct that's supposedly rumored for the end of this month or whenever soon enough. But it seems to be a case that Nintendo's partnership is not ending there, as it seems we have now been confirmed by a recent trademark find that we are now getting a full-fledged Donkey Kong-led movie from Universal, going off of a listing for a DK trademark for a motion picture. Now, likely a case with this project, this will be something in the vein of a Donkey Kong Country title, which will like to see DK, Diddy, not the freak off one, Dixie, Cranky, and other known Kongs or monkeys in this adventure. In most cases, likely to get their banana horde back or fight against King K. Rool and his armada, but I'm sure we will see due time what this will all entail. Now, no word has been given as to when we can expect this project, but I'm sure it'll be after like the new Mario movie next year, and then the third Minions and whatever projects that Illumination currently has cooking up right now. But I'm sure it may tease an upcoming project, but I'm sure if anything new does come up at these projects, I'll of course be checking it out and will provide it in a later episode, of course. And our second story, we're actually staying with Nintendo for this next one, as we have another focus on a project that we have known a little about in the focus, but we have gotten some big news this week, and that's with the new planned live action film based on The Legend of Zelda that's coming out in 2 years time from Sony and Maze Runner and Kingdom of Planet of the Apes director Wes Ball. Now, not much has been shared about this project besides the release in May of that year, and the case it was planned first film in a supposed trilogy of projects, and for a while it was all just the basis of speculation as to who will be set to see takes on the iconic roles of the gaming franchise. Well, thankfully, that news has been cleared up as to take on the iconic roles for this one instance, as on Wednesday this week, Shigeru Miyamoto took to Twitter and the Nintendo Today app to announce the castings of both Link and Zelda for the film, and thankfully, it's the not overused actors and rather some major unknowns, but upcoming stars, as announced that Zelda will be played by Free Girls and a Jedi and Renegade Nail star Bo Bragason, and Link will be portrayed by Haunting of Bly Manor and Disney's Pinocchio star of Benjamin Evan Ainsworth. But when I saw the announcement at first, I was in the middle of work, I was concerned it would be just the usual fare of everything choosing like Tom Holland as Link and Zendaya or someone as Zelda, but thankfully those were quickly eased with the unveiling of 2 newcomers, which will appeal a lot more in this than the ones with the familiar faces. I do know there was a case a lot of appeal and push for Hunter Schafer as Zelda, and all for case I would have been, if they announced that, I actually would have been really fine with that as well, because they're kind of a bit of an unknown one, and I think their kind of the look for Zelda would have been great. Now, the question I have is the focus is now wondering who will be taking on the role of the main antagonist of Ganondorf, or whatever antagonist they're going to go with. Will this be based on one of the many stories told across one of the game's narratives? And the third piece of questioning wondering if Link will be staying mute in this project, or will he have a bit of a speaking role similar to that cartoon from the 90s? And besides that, I'm sure we'll see in due time as who else will be part of this, and if there's any more news of this project, project, and I'll of course update in a later episode for sure. As for the last of the stories focused on some video game adaptations, we have an update to a project that was initially announced a bit of time ago, and since then it was left in a bit of a limbo if it was still in the process of coming along. But just this week they have finally provided an all new update to it all, as was announced on Thursday that the planned Assassin's Creed television series is still alive and will now be heading into active development on Netflix. And not much else is known about the upcoming project, but it has been confirmed to be working development, with the showrunners confirmed with Robert Patino, who worked on Westworld and Sons of Anarchy, and David Weiner, who worked on Halo and The Killing helm in this series. It'll be a case of wondering if this will be a case of being like the animated shows on Netflix that has seen a lot of love and praise and being respectful to the source material, such as likes of Cuphead, Edgerunners, and Arcane, or it'll be a case like their live action affair that had appeal at first, but then saw a lot of seasons that were far from respecting the lore and content of their series, such as the Resident Evil series and the Witcher franchise. But for now, we have no idea. I'm unsure as if each season could be an anthology focused on a different time period and different assassin, or if it will be a continued story of just one in focus, or when we can expect this series, but I will keep a watch on this with interest, and if there's anything that does come about it of this project, I will of course update in a later episode. But what do you make of these stories? Are you excited for a DK movie? Who else would you cast as for who for the Zelda film? And would you be interested in our Assassin's Creed series? And would you prefer a focus on one assassin a season, or for the series in general? Let me know what you think about this all down below in the comments, and we can talk about that there. The last of the news stories that we have for this week is with a smaller focus on some release date announcements, and for the inanimated fair, with this one I feel is milking with a franchise, and one that is not a major delay and may feel a worry for more, but for the project itself it feels worth a slight delay. But let's get into discussion of what was announced and dates and changes. So we'll start with the latter focus release date, and this one is I'm excited for a lot in aspect, and I think a lot of people are as well. And in the case of this delay is one that is not much of an issue, but it was announced on Thursday that the third film in the Spider-Verse franchise of Beyond has been delayed once again. But thankfully it's not by much, but rather only by about 3 weeks from its initial new release date of June 24th from the original date of June 4th, 2027. Now, it's not a big delay as expected with a project like this one, that it's bound to have a few more new delays as with the visual spectacle of a project with so much different array of mixed media designs. And personally, I'm fine with a little extra delay on this project, and I'm all for this getting a new release with so much love and care that's going to the project, and make it the best thing they could make it, and cap off a masterwork of a trilogy, and hopefully it'll be the case that when it all does come together, it'll be fantastic. Do I see this as being the last delay? I'm unsure right now, but I'm sure if anything does come off this project, I'll of course update in a later episode. Of course, I'll be talking about this in particular. And as for the former, while for some of these characters the cold may not bother them anyway, it may be a case that I'm getting a bit nippy and a little frosty of the response of this, as it was announced that a third film in the Frozen franchise from Disney has officially gone on a release date, with it being the Disney Thanksgiving movie of 2027. But that's not all, as it's also been confirmed that a fourth film is also coming out for this series, and this will be releasing the following year, with both films being worked on back to back to make it an overall double-length film. Now, in all case of things, I feel this franchise personally is overrated, but in recent times has died down a lot more and more focused on their projects and from Disney stuff, but I feel this could be a situation of the last film in the series, where that movie had a rough development where they were months out from release and they had no idea on some of the important elements of the story, and was concerned that it would be a mess of things. But it seemed they've turned around quick enough for the release, but reception was a lot lower than the original, and this could be a case of trying to make a massive story for two films itself. Do I see these as being a success? Well, if the two of them made $1 billion already, then likely case, I'm sure yes. But I do see them as being good? I don't know. I thought the first was decent and the second was not great but okay and sort of watchable, but it feels they may milk this franchise as they see it as a massive success. I feel them pushing out so many sequels that it nearly feels like they are taking the approach of the Illumination tone of the Minions Despicable Me films with how many sequels they make of that franchise. I know in case Pixar does the same with some of their IPs, but they're more spaced out compared to some of the Disney output and sequels and time differences. But who knows, maybe these will be the best of the series, but I guess we'll see in due time with at least the first one in 2027. With all regards, I want to know what you think of these dates. Do you see delayed again, and are you excited for 2 more Frozen films? Let me know what you think, the opinions down below. With all that, that's all the news that we do have for this week.
And then there's Chunky. He's dead.
And now with all of that, that ends episode 113 of Weird Mind Newsroom. I do hope you enjoyed this, my ramblings for quite another week. Sorry if I look a bit emotional. I've just had a bit of a moment there. But anyways, I'm going to give a quick rundown of some content that you expect for this channel. So reviews and stuff wise, I'm going to get to The Last of Us and stuff like that very quickly. I'm going to get to it. I'm going to find the time to do it. I just need to find some motivation and energy to do it because I just really have not been in the right mindset to do stuff. Snack size box office ones, they're going to come as well. Those ones are going to be coming quickly at some point eventually. I do have 2 more films to at least add to the list of reviews I will do over time, which in case I saw Superman on Friday. I enjoyed it. It had its issues, but I think it's really good. And then Jurassic World I thought was entertaining as well. It kind of things. There's a bit of issues there as well, but I'll get to them in my reviews and stuff. And other long form ones will be coming eventually, so look forward to them. Gameplays wise, I did record the first part of DK Bonanza. I only played like the beginning part and maybe the start of the first subsection. You go down to like sub 100. I will be doing more of that series, and I will be fully dressed to the nine as DK and stuff like that, but I will be doing more of that. I'll do Outlast as well this week as well. They're going to be uploading 2 parts maybe in the same day. Yeah, first episode should be out before this episode drops, so you can look forward to that aspect. But then like Mario, Ventilate, Cyberpunk, Star Wars, and all other games will be coming as well, so look forward to that. Let me know what games you want me to play in the below, and I will play. In the case of long form stuff, I'm going to get back to like Super Watchathon, the Horror Must Board, everything like that. But yeah, they're all going to come eventually, so look forward to those. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna have to cut it there, so just this episode there for now. So if you like my content, want to see more from me more frequently, simply like and subscribe, as I upload new stuff every single week. And you know, I'm aiming for 500 subs at least for the moment, then hopefully by the end of this year get to 1k, but we'll see how it goes. We're close to 500, so any support is appreciated. And let me know your thoughts on everything discussed this week in the comments below. Your thoughts on, like, you know, I've seen the new releases, your thoughts on the trailers, and as well as the news stories this week. But let me know your thoughts down below. And in the case of instance, I'm gonna leave there for now. Sorry, I'm not doing well at all, so just apologies in that regards. But anyways, I hope you all stay being wonderful people and have a great day every day, doing many great things, and to keep being you because no one else can do what you do. And of course, to take care of yourself and take care of your mental health, because it's important. But anyways, I'll leave there for now. I've been your host, Sam, and I'll see you all in the next episode. So take care, and I'll see you later.